My daughter is 16 years old and in high school. I noticed recently that she's been behaving in a bad manner, constantly commenting on other people's looks, belongings, calling them stuff that isn't cool, and just being insensitive. It's like she lost a filter or something, because usually she's polite, but my wife suspected that our daughter's sudden misbehavior occurred after she started hanging out with new girls from the school. Basically the mean type, and have picked on their behavior. I've sat with my daughter and had many discussions about how her behavior has been negatively affecting everyone around her. Our housemaid is the person most affected here, and my daughter has chosen her to be her target for hair, clothes, etiquette, criticism. She has complained about our daughter calling her offensive names like filthy and gross for cleaning certain areas in our house. I took a stand and explicitly told my daughter I'd punish her if she ever said stuff like that to our housemaid again. Last week my daughter had a party to go to. Earlier that day she called our housemaid filthy. So I grounded her by not letting her go to the party. She threw a fit and called our housemaid a liar, saying she never called her that. That was the end of it. Days later my daughter came to me saying she couldn't find her iPhone after looking everywhere. She asked me to call her number and I did. My wife and I were stunned to discover that the iPhone was ringing inside our housemaid's bag. I had a confrontation with her immediately, and she denied and cried, saying she never touched the phone nor had any idea how it got there. I noticed my daughter calling her thief repeatedly, so I told her to stop and go to her room. I checked the indoor camera before continuing the argument and saw my daughter place her iPhone inside our housemaid's bag. I was livid. I apologized to the housemaid and gave her the rest of the day off. I then showed the video to my daughter and she was absolutely speechless. I said what she did was immoral and straight up offensive to tamper with that poor woman's livelihood over a petty party she couldn't go to. I told her she was grounded and will have to spend the night in the backyard. She is a germaphobe. But she cried, begging me to not make her sleep with the dirt, insects, and hot temp. I refused to discuss it or I'd make it 2 nights. My wife said I should go easy on her, but I said calling people filthy and accusing them of stealing wasn't okay. In fact, it was the absolute worst. I then went through with my punishment. The reason I chose this punishment was because of the fact that my daughter says she is a germaphobe and used this as excuse to insult others' hygiene and appearance. Our backyard has dirt and bugs in it, and this kind of things get her uncomfortable, but other than that the backyard is 100% safe. I am a 17 years old female, and I still live with my mom, my stepdad, and my 2 half-siblings, 5 and 7 year. My dad died when I was 5, driving me to the hospital. Mom didn't want to pay for an ambulance. He died in the crash and my leg and spine got busted up in a way that has left me needing a cane pretty much ever since. My stepdad's always been a little distant with me. He likes to make jokes about how I'm an early blooming black widow. I think he gets that from my mom, who blames me for my dad's death. I do too, it is my fault after all, so I don't push back on it. Anyway, the point is that with the current situation my parents are always looking for ways to get my half-siblings active and doing things without leaving the house, and have recently settled on scavenger hunts. I have no problem with this, honestly. I wish they'd stop hiding stuff in my underwear drawer, but it's a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, so that's not the worst. My problem though is that they keep taking my cane when I'm not looking. I tend to get lost in my homework and my writing hobby and zone out, and having it be one of the items that my half-siblings have to find. When I complain to my stepdad, he's a SAHD, so is usually the one running these things. He scolds me for being selfish and points out that my swivel chair has wheels if I need the bathroom, and that they always get it to me before I have to go downstairs for dinner. I tried my mom yesterday, and she said that I was being a brat and that if I wanted a father who cared about me I shouldn't have killed my dad. I got really upset at that point and called my grandparents, my mom's parents. Dads are dead too. They showed up at 10 p.m. yesterday, and Grandma screamed at them while Grandpa packed my stuff up and helped me out to their car. My mom's been blowing up my phone and email, calling me all sorts of names and accusing me of turning her family against her and trying to get her in legal trouble, since minors can't move out. And I can't help but think that maybe she's. I am a 33 years old woman, the breadwinner of our household. I have multiple, highly specialized degrees for a niche industry. I make $200K plus, with potential to get in the $600 MS range. My company has not been hit that badly by COVID, so most of us have kept our jobs, but we're held to strict standards. My husband has a broad degree / work experience. He quit his job right before COVID hit, hoping for a better job in the meantime, and I was supportive. He spent a ton of time applying to various jobs, and finally landed an interview at Organization X. This is his dream job, in almost every imaginable way. I can't be detailed. However, it's paying about $65K a year, which would be fine, except this job directly puts my job stability at risk. My company and this org are adversarial, at best. My field is extremely secretive, and if clients discovered my spouse was working for a competitor, I would be permanently tainted. I wouldn't be able to get a job in the industry forever. I know this sounds like an exaggeration, but I promise you, it absolutely is not. It'd be like if I worked in protecting the privacy of celebrities, and he worked for TMZ. If he tapped my car, got into my work devices, he could use that to advance his career. And any trust one have in this field will be gone. Even if I trusted my husband not to do that, my clients and company don't. Worse, B//C my background is so specialized, this is the only field I can work in. I asked him to drop from consideration for the job, since if he got it, we'd lose my income. $65K a year cannot support us in this city. Plus, he does not have to work for this organization. Even if the job market is awful right now, his background gives him access to a wide range of jobs, but I only have this one niche field. He was extremely angry, and said I was selfish and only cared about money. I told him that if he wanted to go back to school for an advanced degree or just be unemployed for a while, I would support him. But taking this job isn't possible. He continued the process behind my back, and got the offer. He wants to accept it, B//C. He says his career needs to take priority and that I wasn't being a supportive wife. I feel so betrayed, and I've contacted all relevant higher-ups in my company to inform them. I notified them as soon as he got the interview. B//C. It's better coming from my email than from a background check. I told him he could decline the offer, W// watching him physically decline it. Or he could accept the offer and move out immediately. I would pay for him to stay 2 weeks at a hotel, and we would begin divorce proceedings. My company is willing to take care of all of my legal fees. I feel awful. I still love him. I moved decisively, B//C. This was the best way to cut my losses, but it still hurts. He called me heartless and cold. It's true that I was prioritizing my career over his, but it felt like the only option at the time.